by the end of the year, that $5,000 should earn a total interest of $111,000, which would bring my total portfolio amount to about $116,000. And that's only for 1 year. If I did this for 2 straight years, compounding every month, then that initial $5,000 would be worth $2.7 million in just 2 years. I'm going to walk you through the exact trading strategy that I use to consistently pull in 30 to 50% returns in a single month. I promise you there's no hype here and definitely no $1,000 course at the end of this video. I'm here to teach you what actually works step by step. This simple strategy is something I overlooked after years of trial and error, late night studying charts, blowing accounts, learning from mentors, and doing hundreds of hours of backtesting. And it's all built around one simple yet powerful combo: stock RSI and the 4-hour time frame. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how I read the market, how I time my entries and exits, and most importantly, how I stay consistent. No gambling, no guessing, just a clear, repeatable system. But before we dive in, can you please do me a quick favor? If you're excited to learn, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know, and it tells me you want more deep dive strategy content just like this. All right, now let's get into it. Now, I want to be completely transparent with you. I didn't start off as a consistently profitable trader. In fact, for a very long time, I was the complete exact opposite. Now, I first got into crypto back in 2019. I was still in college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life still. And when I saw people making insane returns in crypto, I thought this could be my shot. So what did I do? I jumped in head first with no real plan, no system, and just vibes. I'd FOMO into pumps, chase green candles, and panic sell every time the market dipped. And yeah, I caught a couple of good runs early on, and I made some very good gains, but I also lost a lot of money, like way too much. At one point, I was literally just spinning in circles, winning big, losing even bigger, never really understanding why things were happening. It was completely exhausting, but eventually I got sick of it. I stopped chasing every new strategy I saw on Twitter and YouTube and decided to focus on one thing. I studied the charts, I learned technical analysis, started journaling my trades, backtesting setups, and digging deep into price action. And through all of that, what I realized is this: simplicity beats complexity. All the best traders I followed weren't using 10 confusing indicators or overly complicated systems. They had 1 or 2 high probability setups. They managed risk like professionals, and they repeated that over and over again. So that's when things clicked. And that's how I built the system I'm about to show you. Now, this blueprint is super simple. It's clean, it's repeatable, and if you actually apply it, it can change your trading for the better. So first, let's go over what my strategy is, and then I'll hop over to TradingView and show you guys how to implement it. Now, this strategy remains around 3 main pillars. The first one being market structure and confluence. Now, before I take any trade, I always zoom out and ask myself, are we in a clear trend? Is it bullish or bearish? Is price reacting to a key level, support or resistance? Is there a recognizable pattern, like a double bottom, ascending triangle, or trendline break? And when I have those factors lining up and the stock RSI gives me a signal in the extreme zones, that's when I pull the trigger. You're stacking probabilities. That's the whole game. Remember to act fast when preserving capital and act slow when building it. And sometimes the best trade is to just sit on your hands. Pillar number 2 is the stochastic or stock RSI. Not to be confused with the basic RSI. The stock RSI is like the RSI's more sensitive cousin. It measures the momentum of momentum, and it's incredible for timing reversals. Now, I just use the default settings, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for crossovers of the blue and orange lines, ideally in those extreme zones of 95 and 5, which I'll explain to you in a little bit. And the third pillar, the 4-hour time frame. Now, personally, the 4 hour is my favorite, but that's all up to you. The 4-hour chart filters out the noise from lower time frames, like the 15-minute or 1 hour. But I like it because it still gives you plenty of trading opportunities throughout the week. It's perfect for people who can't sit at their desk and stare at charts all day, but still want consistent setups. But let me be clear, you can use this strategy on pretty much any time frame. It just depends on your lifestyle and your goals. So let's break it down real quick. The 1 hour time frame is great for fast-paced swing trades, and you should be expecting 18 to 20 trades per month, and trades should usually last about 24 to 48 hours. 4-hour time frame is my go-to, and trades last about 3 to 5 days on average, and you should be expecting 6 to 8 quality setups per month. The 8-hour time frame is a more relaxed pace. Trades last about 6 to 8 days, and you'll see 4 to 6 setups monthly. And the 12-hour time frame, trades play out over 10 to 14 days, and you should expect 2 to 3 setups per month. Now, the daily time frame is ideal for those who can't check charts every day, and trades last around 20 to 30 days. So that's like just 1 to 2 trades per month, but they can be super powerful. And lastly is the weekly time frame. This is more for investing, and I use it to track long-term market cycles and position myself for big macro moves in strong projects. So pick the time frame that fits your schedule, then apply the system consistently. All right, so now let's jump over to TradingView, and I'm going to show you how this would have worked on a historical Bitcoin chart. All right, so first thing first is to just get an overall sentiment of the market. So today is April 3rd. It's the day after the tariff announcement from Trump. So markets have just been horrible today. But we're going to go ahead and draw a trend line. So it's obviously in a downtrend, which we all know. And then you go to the daily, and weekly RSI bottomed out right here. So look at that, bottomed out, bam, came back up to the trend line. Then we go down the daily, did the same thing on the daily. And so the beautiful thing about trading on the 4-hour is that it's a quick enough time frame to where it doesn't really matter if the market is in a long-term uptrend or a long-term downtrend, because your trades will only last a couple days. But it's just always good to get a feel for the market and where it might be going. So let's jump back down to the 4-hour. I'm going to show you how to add the stock RSI, which is this guy down here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to indicators, and you're just going to type in stochastic RSI and make sure you favorite it. And then once you do that, it should pop up down here. Now the next thing that I want you to do is to put a horizontal line right here at, you see the 95 level, and down here at the 5 level. Now what these levels tell us is that these are the extreme levels. So anytime price dips below the green line, that means that the price is oversold, and once it jumps up above the red line, that means that price is overbought. So above or below these lines generally means that the price should turn soon. So what I did for y'all is I marked out this chart. This is the Bitcoin price going from February 25th all the way to recent, which is right here. So, but what I did is the last time it hit this top RSI. So 34 days, let's see what kind of ROI this strategy can give us. So when marking out this chart, what I did is I circled every time it reached above the 5 or 95 level, and then I drew vertical lines so that you guys know where it is on the chart. So as you can see here, buy, you would have bought right in this area. Then you would have waited for price action in the RSI to move upwards to the overbought area above 95, and you would have sold in this general area. Now this is a big candle, but even if you would have sold down here, it still would have been a small loss, and all these wins would have canceled that out. Okay, now that you have sold, you're going to just wait until price comes back down into the 5 level. As you can see here, price wicked below the 5 level. You would have bought somewhere in here and rode it all the way up to here, getting a 10.57% return on your money. And we're trading on the 4-hour, so this trade would have lasted about 2 days, which is a pretty quick trade for being on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, next trade, we would have waited for it to come back down to the 5 level. You would have bought in here, bought in somewhere in here, and you would have sold right here for almost 4% return. Next one, you would have bought down here, which is right here, sold right here, almost a 6% return. Next one, you would have bought right here, and this one was just a little baby guy, but you would have made almost a 2% return in just a couple of days, which I would be happy about. So let's add up all these percentages and see how much money this trading strategy made in 34 days. Now when adding up all the percentages, it comes out to 30.24% in 34 days, which is an absolute insane return on your money. If you would have started with only $1,000, you would have made $300 in 1 month. And if you started with 10,000, you would have made 3K in 1 month. And also remember that this is trading Bitcoin, which is the safest cryptocurrency, as well as you are only longing, you're not shorting. So if you would have shorted, so long, short, instead of just buy, and sell, your return on your investment would be much greater than this. But this is an extremely good return, and it's a lot safer and easier. So if you are a beginner, I would not recommend doing shorting. I would just stick to buying, and you can even do this on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken. It's a super simple strategy and is one of the most proven strategies out there. So I just stick to this. Okay, so that's for Bitcoin. Now let's go over to an altcoin. So remember that this is taken on April 3rd of 2025. So this is during all of the tariff stuff, the tariff wars, a lot of very volatile price action, and the markets have been in a downtrend for about the last 3 months. And so to be able to still pull out a 30% gain every month would just be phenomenal. So the altcoin I picked to give you guys an example of is Sui. So same thing I did with Bitcoin. Sui is, you would have bought in here, sold, bought, sold, right? So bought, sold, 22% gain. Then this one, you were at a loss. Now it doesn't work every time. So it's all about stacking probabilities, and eventually in the long run, this system will be beneficial for you. So right here, you would have bought in, price took a huge dump, and you would have sold for 10% loss, which is still only half of this. So you would still be in the money for the month. Then you would have had a 7% gain, and then a 8.4% gain, and a 9.63% gain for the month. This would bring your total to 27% in just 28 days. And so you might be thinking 30% in 1 month really isn't that much in crypto. Well, slow and steady wins the race in crypto, because if you're trying to make millions in 1 year, you're most likely going to get wrecked or liquidated. But what most people don't realize is that if you stick to a strategy that compounds every month, then if you started with 5K in 2 months, that could be worth millions of dollars. And I'll show you guys proof. So I started this strategy a couple months ago, and I'm on track right now. So I started with 5K, and I'm shooting to make 30% return every month. Now at the end of that month, I will be reinvesting my money back into the next trade for the next month, so that I let it compound over the year. So by letting it compound, my investment should be doubled, which it is after 3 months. Now, by the end of the year, that $5,000 should earn a total interest of $111,000, which would bring my total portfolio amount to about $116,000. And that's only for 1 year. If I did this for 2 straight years, compounding every month, then that initial $5,000 would be worth $2.7 million in just 2 years. But the trick is to just stick with it, because it will not seem like you're making much money at all in the beginning, but the power of compounding will eventually prevail, and by the end of the year, you will be making way more money than you probably make at your 9 to 5. So as you can see, when you just start out, this is with starting with 5,000. When you're just starting out, you might only make 1,500 in the first month, and then from there, it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing until month 11, you make 84 grand. And here is another visual for you showing if you would have started with 5K and how it compounds every month. Now the same goes for if you invest with a smaller amount or a bigger amount. It doesn't really matter. If you're aiming for a 30% return, which I believe you could do, with the power of compounding, that would mean that every year your money is making about a 20 to 22x return. So if you started with $1,000, that $1,000 would turn into $22,000. If you started with $10,000, that would be roughly $222,000. Now this doesn't mean go out and put all your $10,000 in your piggy bank into a exchange and start trading with the $10,000. I want you to still start out with, even if it's just $100. Okay, start out small, get the hang of it, learn how to use the RSIs properly, which time frame you like, stuff like that. So Take your time and let the power of compounding help you with this. Just keep trying to make 30% a month and take small trades and just get in and get out. Okay, market's very volatile right now. You don't want to be sticking in it for too long. Just get in and get out with a nice, decent return. Alright guys, if this gave you some value, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway. I'm building a community of smart and consistent traders. It's called Freedom Traders, and I'm going to be picking 5 people in the comments to get a free trial inside the group. Now, inside of Freedom Traders, I post daily macro updates, trade setup, strategy breakdowns, trading lessons, and a ton of alpha you won't find anywhere else. So don't miss out, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.